prevention, all kinds of stuff like that. And Wayland Cares is the group that basically comes out and provides those things to the community and gets the community involved. Today, I'm here to talk about fun stuff, about communication, how we communicate, how we interpret things, how we influence people, and all of that. And I like to do that interactively, and I like to do it with some kind of games. Does that work for everybody? Yeah. Cool. So here's the deal, and here's what we are going to do. In a second, I'm going to basically start picking different sections. So you guys over here, you will be one section. You guys are going to be group number 1. From here to there, you guys are number 2. From here to this staircase right here, you're number 3. And all of you are number 4. All right? So remember your group number. Now the first thing I'm going to say to you is this. I need you guys to take every word in every direction I say today 100% literally. So you cannot interpret anything. Does that work? Understand? So I have one thing that I'm going to ask you guys to do right now. First of all, I need you to pick a leader in your group. So one person that's going to represent your group. I'll give you guys 15, 20, 30 seconds to do that. When you have it, that person can stand up when the group determines that person. All right, so we have one over here. Can you come right up here, please? All right, you are number 1. What's your name? Jake. Jace? Jake. Awesome. All right, so we have Jake for group number 1. What's your name? Missy? Yeah. All right, Missy's number 2. You can stand wherever. Number 3, come on down. What's your name? Jasmine? Thank you. Nice to meet you. And number 4, who do we have? What's your name, buddy? Shut up, Teron. We're going to be polite and nice to people. Sorry. I'm a big fan of kindness. Come on in, guys. Grab a seat wherever. Just know that you're going to be assigned to a group.
Somebody's got to take my seat. Don't let them take my seat.
All right. Here we go. And it was Jake in group 1, right?
Yep.
So Jake, group 1. First question for you. What's your favorite color? Green. Green? You guys are group green. All right. Hold this piece of paper. Let's see, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. All right, you guys will be group blue.
Guys, what's my favorite color? What's my favorite color?
Purple. Jasmine, favorite color?
Purple.
Purple?
Red.
Red? There you go. All right, so here's what I'm going to ask you guys all to do. I'm going to give you, I'm going to say, somewhere between 6 and 7 minutes. You need to go back to your groups with your piece of paper, and without showing the other groups, you need to make a paper airplane. So make sure that it's hidden, though, and that other groups can't see it. Work collaboratively, work together, find ways to talk about how you guys are making your paper airplane. together, figure out what's going on. You guys have 3 more minutes to make your plane. You have 3 minutes. When your group is complete, if you finish early, go ahead and just raise your hand so I know. Alright, you guys good? 3 minutes, guys. And remember, try to keep your plane like out of sight of the other groups right now. Two more minutes. You guys good? All right. How's group 2's good? 3, how you doing? You guys good? All right. We can stop then. All right. So, if I can have everybody's attention for a second. Everybody, please. Thank you. All right, so I have some more questions for you all. Here we go. What did I ask you to do? Build a paper airplane. What did I ask you to do before that? Pick a color. What did I ask you to do before that?
Pick a leader.
Pick a leader. And the last thing before that?
Sit down.
I also asked you to take everything I said today completely literally. So, let me ask you guys a question. Group number 4. What influenced you to make your paper airplane the way you made it?
Jeffrey.
What? You just made it? Okay. So you just made it. How about group number 3? Did anything influence you on how you decided to make a paper airplane?
I kind of just asked like who's the best at origami. He raised his hand and he made this.
Okay. So yeah. So we asked about some origami. Who's really good at folding paper, and I made it. How about group number 2? What did you guys? What influenced you?
We went with whoever made it best for like speed and then how far.
Okay. So speed, how far, general performance, all that stuff. Group number 1. You just made it. Absolutely. So let me ask you guys some other questions. So basically, we have things ranging from like performance. I just made it. This is how I know how to make it, who's really good at origami, all these things. What did you guys think when I asked you to make a paper airplane you might have to do with that paper airplane? Throw it, right? We make paper airplanes to throw them. We make them to fly. We make them in theory that they're going to fly far, they're going to do a trick, they're going to look cool, stuff like that, right? Does that all work for everybody? Does anybody remember how you learned how to make a paper airplane? Grandpa? Who else? Anybody? If you have some way you remember, raise your hand for me. Who remembers how to make a paper airplane? Who taught you?
My cousin.
Your cousin? Absolutely. Who else? What? A teacher?
My brother.
Your brother? Anybody else?
My dad.
Your dad? What was that? Him? Okay, awesome. So the reason why I ask you this is we learn things in different ways. We absorb things throughout our lives. Some things we just know. For instance, like when I said make a paper airplane, everybody instantaneously probably had an idea in their head of like, this is how I make a paper airplane. We don't typically sit around and question how we learned that unless you're asked the question, who taught you how to make a paper airplane? We don't typically sit around and think about the fact of, who taught you how to make it better? Who taught you how to make it fly further? How many of you guys, by a show of hands, thought that when I asked you to make a paper airplane, there's going to be a competition to see who's flew the furthest? So about 50% of you, I'm going to say. Basically speaking, the general instinct of everybody is to take information in, process it through a different lens and different filter, and then figure out the reason of why I am doing this or why I'm being asked to do this. How many of you guys felt slightly uncomfortable when I asked somebody to pick a leader and you guys had to come up here and stand up here? Did anybody, like, were you guys super excited for that, or you were like, what is about to happen? Anybody?
I was caught off guard. I didn't know where to go up there.
Sure. So basically you're coming up and you're like, luckily it seems like all of you guys who did volunteer are pretty comfortable putting yourself out there. If you were on The Price is Right, you'd be that person running down the aisle because you're like, sweet, I can win money, I can do something fun's about to happen. For some people, they're like, I don't want to do that. And that's totally fine too. We're all different. And we all process information in different ways, and we all take in and interpret it in different ways. So, I'm going to ask you guys to do something again. In a second, I'm going to have the leaders come up and get 2 pieces of paper this time. Make sure, for real this time, that other people can't see what you're doing. First thing you're going to do with 1 piece of paper is, once again, you're going to build a paper airplane. Remember, I'm asking you to take everything I say literally. Build a paper airplane. On the second piece of paper, you need to tell me how to build that paper airplane. So you need to give me directions on how to make the paper airplane. Does that make sense? All right, so if all my leaders can come up and get your 2 pieces of paper, hopefully somebody in your group has a writing implement so that you can achieve that. There you go. No problem. There you go. There you go. No problem. Thank you. Enjoy. I'll give you guys a little bit more time on this one. Try to include everybody as best you can in the process, everybody, so people aren't just sitting doing nothing. Really try to get input, figure out reasons, have people work together, and figure out how to make the directions.
No, wait.
Are you guys done with your directions and your? All right, so put your group number or color on it, just so that they're both identified as the same thing. And then hide it in your shirt and bring it up to me.
Wait, we should go last, right? We should wait.
Oh, we should wait.
Why?
They'll know what.
Oh, we'll have them first.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So those are directions? All right, I'll take the directions.
Did you say stand in the directions though?
I did not say stand on the directions. I can literally tell you, you can hand me the directions into my right hand and I'll be happy. Thank you. You have 6 more minutes to complete your plane and your directions of how to make the plane. If you are complete, make sure that both the plane and the directions have a number or color that matches on both of them so we can put them together. What's up? I'm sorry to hear that.
It's just out.
Good luck. Are you done? Are they marked so that I know that the directions go with the plan? So put your number on, like either number 4 or the color on both of them so that they match. And then I'll take them. I need both of them when you're done. So I need them together. So like hide the plane in the direction you bring it up. Done. What? I need the one that you just made that matches the direction that you just made. Both with the number and the color on it. Very done. I need the one that matches the directions. That's all I need. You guys have 3 more minutes for groups 2 and 3. You're done? You can bring yours up then? And they're both marked? Yeah. Perfect, thank you. Group 3, how you guys doing? You're good? You're done? You can bring it on up there then. Kind of hide the plane in the directions and bring it up there. Group 1, can I borrow a writing implement? Does anybody have one that I can use real quick? Thank you. have your attention, please? All right, a couple more questions for y'all. What did I just ask you to do once again?
You asked us to make another airplane.
Yep.
And on a piece of paper, tell us how to make.
Yep. All right, so I asked you to make an airplane and then provide directions on how to make said airplane. In addition to that, to go back to the beginning, I asked everybody to take me 100% literally, which is great. I can say group number 1 took that incredibly to heart, and they basically came up and they're like, where am I supposed to stand? How am I supposed to hand this to you? Did you ask me to hand it to you? Which is awesome, because you're doing exactly what I asked you to do. Other people took different interpretations, once again, which is totally fine. And that's okay, because basically the two things that I was really concerned about is I wanted you to make another airplane, and I wanted you to make directions for it. How many of you guys have followed directions at some point in time in your life? Hopefully all of you. You guys are following directions right now, because I'm asking you guys to do things and stuff like that. How many of you guys have ever had to follow written directions before? Whether it's to get somewhere, to build something, to figure out a problem, all of that stuff, right? When we look at those directions, sometimes they make very clear sense. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes my alarm goes off. All kinds of different things happen. Basically speaking, there's different ways to interpret things, once again. How many of you guys have ever heard of a store called IKEA? Has anybody in here ever built something from IKEA? Question, for those of you who built IKEA stuff, do the directions always make sense? No. What are the other directions, like when you look at IKEA directions, what's one of the other things that you see? There's a lot of images. There's not a lot of words typically. It's one of those things where it's like, here's a rough approximation of what we're asking you to do, and good luck. You figure out the rest. So here's the next step for you all. I'm going to give you all somebody else's directions. So different groups' directions and another piece of paper. What you need to do is your group collectively needs to follow those directions to the T. You cannot interpret. You cannot try to come up with what you think they're trying to tell you. You need to do what the directions tell you and make their plans. Okay? So, group number 1. Here's a piece of paper and a set of directions. Group number 2. Paper and directions. Thank you. Group number 3. Paper and directions. And group number 4, piece of paper and directions. So go ahead and do that. When you're done, please raise your hand. What was that?
He is the direction.
I'm going to ask them to do what's on paper right now. But I appreciate it. So I'm assuming you're done? So I'm assuming you're done. You would do what you wish. Based on what I told you. Are you done? All right, thank you.
Very highly complicated.
Are you done? All right, so if you're done with the plan and the directions, bring them up to me. So whatever you created, I'll take that and the directions back. The plan that you made from the directions. Thank you. You guys are good? Okay. No rush. You guys are finishing it up? No rush. I mean, you guys have a couple minutes, but. I asked her to basically say, play it, and then with an exit, follow the directions. Okay, no worries. I'm going to give you guys like another minute and a half to wrap it up. 2 if you need it. You guys all set? asked you guys to do a couple of things this last round. I gave each group a different group's directions. I gave you another piece of paper, and I said what? Follow them literally, right? So I basically said, we need to follow these directions to the T. The reason why I did this, and the reason why I continuously go back and hammer the point of taking things literally is this. When we receive information, and we receive directions, the person that created those directions or is providing that information isn't always there to help clarify those things. Sometimes we're like IKEA, absolutely. So like when you go home and you're making IKEA furniture, you're asked to interpret a lot of things. And basically, the one thing that you have a lot of times when you're in IKEA, for instance, is when you're walking through the showroom, you get to see the final piece. And in theory, on the box or something like that, there might be a picture of that final piece that says like, this is what this is supposed to look like. Good luck getting it there. And then you have some broken directions that basically try to get you step by step to get there. The same way when we ask people to do things, whether it's a teacher asking you to do things, whether it's your parents or your guardians asking you to do things, whether it's just generally society asking you to function in a certain way or operate in a certain way, there's these directions that we receive. And then all of us with our unique experiences and our unique perspective on things and the different skills and information that we have and that we've collected, we interpret these things and then we kind of push them back out into the world. The one thing I asked for you guys to do though is I asked, hey, take this completely literally. Because the one thing we can always do is we can take what's directly in front of us and we can look at that and we can say, this is what this is. This doesn't change, this is what it's telling me, this is what's going on. So, for example, I asked you guys once again to follow the directions implicitly. So, group number 1, I gave this to group number 3. Just to show you an example. Group number 1 submitted a plane to me that looked like this. Does this look like a paper airplane?
Yeah.
Sure. It looks like a paper airplane. It's got all kinds of funky little folds. It's got different aerodynamics. It flies like a paper airplane pretty well. Good job. That being said, the directions that were given to me and given to group 3 was a piece of paper that had the number 1 on it. So this is the plane that I got back. Congratulations, group number 3. You did a great job.
Let's see the flies.
Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, it'll float. That being said, the reason why I asked you guys to do that is if you received these directions and you knew they were supposed to be a paper airplane, there might be a little confusion. Group number 1, or group number 3 rather, who got group number 1's directions, looked at me, multiple of you looked at me and they're like, what do I do? Like, there's nothing here. And then group number 1 kind of saw that and was like, oh wait, like maybe we screwed up. Like, and basically, your name was Jake, right?
Yeah.
And Jake was like, hey, I'm the directions. Like, I'm pretty sure you asked us to stand up here and give the directions. Can I do that? There was a little miscommunication between us. It might have been my fault. It might have been what you heard. These things happen, and I like that in the sense that that was a real-life example of like, hey, maybe I didn't understand what you were asking me. Maybe I did. Maybe you took something literally that I didn't realize I said. And basically, Jake was like, they're not going to get anywhere. And you didn't, and that's fine because you followed the directions. But that being said, if you expected to make a paper airplane and you wanted a paper airplane, did this bring you joy and the feeling of completion that you have a paper airplane now? Anybody in group 3?
No joy.
I'm assuming the answer is no. It may make you smile because here we are with a flat piece of paper and you didn't have to do much. So that was one example. In addition to that, group number 2 made this. Or the people that had group number 2. You guys had group number 2, correct? So basically, they made this paper airplane. Once again, looks like a paper airplane. Probably functions like a paper airplane. Kind of. That being said, I'm not going to show you group 2's plane yet. I'm going to follow the directions very literally and show you what I come up with really quickly if I am the person that's concerned to take this literally. So instruction number 1, grab a piece of paper. Got it. Fold paper in half, hot dog style. Well, I like hot dogs, I like eating hot dogs. I don't know what a hot dog style is, but a bun is kind of round, so I'll fold it in half
No.
like that. Because that's how I would put a hot dog in. I'm not going to crease the bottom of my hot dog. Fold two adjacent corners. All right, so this one and this one, closest together into the middle crease. All right, I don't have a crease, but I'll fold it to the middle. Fold in half again so corners are touching, not hot dog. I still don't have a hot dog. My corners, do I have two corners? I guess these are corners, so they need to touch. All right. Fold wings outward. I guess this is a wing. Lightly bend outside corners. Okay. So, amazingly enough, that actually does kind of look like an airplane. Good work. The airplane was supposed to look like this. But in all honesty, not bad. That being said, let me ask you guys another question. Did I still have to interpret things? Yeah. So basically speaking, like, once again, you're always forced to interpret, you're always forced to do things. If I was actually using the knowledge that I had of what a paper airplane looks like, of the fact that at some point in time as a child, I was taught how to make a paper airplane, I have base level information. I used to remember in elementary school, my art teacher always had paper airplane day once a year. And they gave us this template that was printed out on a Xerox piece of paper that had lines like dotted on it and everything. And you folded on the lines and you actually made like the world's most perfect paper airplane. I don't know how they did it, but they did. And then you got to decorate them. And it was like the highlight of our elementary school career every year, where you had paper airplane day and then you got to go out at recess and fly your paper airplanes, and it was awesome. That being said, those directions were very specific because they gave you those directions that had those images. And it had little lines and it had very specific directions. It says, fold here, do it this way. There was somebody in front of me giving me feedback saying, I'm doing it right, I'm doing it wrong, to help me get that success. Meanwhile, I have that, which doesn't fly very well. All right, moving right along. Group number 3. So, group number 3's plane, their actual plane, looked like this. Solid paper airplane, good geometry, flies really, really well. Solid work, everybody, solid work. Who made group number 3's plane? Was it you guys? All right. Group number 2 made group number 3. Once again, fairly close approximation. Oh, no. You guys got it? All right. So you did the best you could with the directions. So there you are. Once again, I'm going to give you one more example. I promise I'm not going to make you sit through all of these, but I'm going to give you another example of what we're interpreting here. So, this one says fold paper in half vertically. All right, I know what vertical is. So, vertical, horizontal, vertically. I will fold it in half vertically. Take the top 2 corners and fold to the center crease. All right, there's a center crease. Top 2 corners. Take point and fold to center. All right, there's the point. I will fold you to the center of the page. About there. Take side corner 2 to 2/3 down the center triangle. I have an illustration as well. So I'm assuming, okay. Here's step 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. take side corner 2, I'm going to say that's this one, to 2/3 down the center. I got to do it like this. I don't know if I can get it to 2/3 down the center. That's good enough. Fold triangle up and hold pre-war fold, pre-worn fold. Fold triangle up to pre. Well, there is another illustration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm gonna go like this. Fold center crease to panels are feeling out. Fold center crease to panels. I'm sorry you're feeling out. Fold each wing to the bottom of the body. Okay. Unfold and add dihedral.
Whose is this?
Dihedral.
Wait, what group is this?
Add upward angle to the wing.
Wait, what group is it?
This is group 3.
Oh, it's not red.
Yay! It says it on the paper. Right here. With exclamation points. I have a plane.
What's this?
So, in all honesty, that plane was supposed to look like the one that we already threw out there. So,
No, we had the best
it could be also like this, but it's not. So basically, this is what I end up with. Once again, the reason why I'm going through all of these with everybody is, does this give me happiness as a paper airplane? It gives me happiness. It's a great example. If I was really hoping for a really awesome paper airplane, I might be a little disappointed right now. Once again, if I had a little bit of interpretation and I used those skills and knowledge that I had, and I looked a little bit closer at the diagrams that are out here, I might have gotten somewhere a little bit closer to that plane. The reason why I bring all of this up is it's really important how we communicate. It's really important that we set up people for success, especially when we're depending on them to bring back something to us or be a part of what we're asking them to do. If you're asking somebody to get you something, to act a certain way, to provide you with a certain service, to have the opportunity to treat you in a certain capacity, you need to help set people up for success. If you're not clear with your communication, be it verbal, written, image-wise, however you communicate, you're not going to get what you need back. In addition to that, if you send mixed messages and you're not clear with people, or you ask for people to interpret things, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to give you what they think you're looking for. The more you ask people to basically kind of think on their own in that sense, that's what they're going to do. And sometimes that's great. And we encourage people to be themselves, to express themselves how they need to use that interpretation and that information, but they're going to feed back off of you to what you're providing them, both emotionally, with clarity, with your words, with your actions. These things all matter. And basically with these things is how we end up with clearer communication, and we have the opportunity to give people what they need to be successful. You all have the incredible ability to influence each other. You have the incredible ability to have your voice. The reason why I bring this up is people listen to me talk all the time. A major part of my job is for me to come do things like this, to talk, to tell people things, to provide information. People hire me to come in and be an expert in things. The only reason I'm an expert in things is because I talk about them a lot and because I've learned things about them. People, when they hear things over and over again, start to process it once again and start to take that information and take in little bits of it, what works for them, internalize what they know, and then spit it back out. For instance, you said your cousin taught you how to make a paper airplane?
Yeah,
So your cousin taught you how to make a paper airplane. Is that still how you make a paper airplane?
yeah.
Perfect. If you were to teach somebody else how to make a paper airplane, do you think it would be exactly the way your cousin made it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically speaking, you're using that information, you've taken it in, you're saying this is how you do it, and if I sat down and I taught you, that's how it's going to happen. Why do you think you'd have success in that?
Just because it was reinforced, I used it during the Science Olympiad
Sure.
twice and had success. doing
Awesome.
it, so.
That's great. And basically, if you do something repetitively like that, it starts to get ingrained in you, and then you get that confidence that you can teach that, right?
Yeah.
It's why I also feel incredibly comfortable standing up here having this conversation. I've done this project with people dozens, if not hundreds of times with different people, and I'm pretty familiar with how this goes. I know what the results are going to be. You can get things through that repetition, you can get stuff out there. One of the other benefits, though, of having a younger voice is the fact that you have your younger voice, you have passion, and people haven't heard from you time and time again. It doesn't make you right, in the sense you might not have all the information that you need. But if you seek that information, you do the stumbling blocks when you go through the directions, figuring things out, you ask questions to get clarifiers so that you get the information you need, like group 3, when you guys clarified, am I good with this? Like, there's no directions here. What did I tell you? Are you done? And you were like, yep, and I smiled and I nodded and you were done. In fact, because you did exactly what I asked you to do. You used your voice, though, to ask that question to get that clarifier. In addition to that, with that power of that voice, if you guys are passionate about something, if you want to see something change, if you want clarification on things, you have the ability to organize, you have the ability to stand up, and you have the ability to express yourself. So if there are things that you want to see change in your community, in your friend groups, in the passion projects that you have, in the things that you enjoy doing, you're going to have that opportunity to take that.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Have a great day, everybody.